Hey, what's up, guys? It's Sarah, and today we're going to be talking about my top 10 favorite horror movies. And these are going to include movies that aren't necessarily the best horror movies of all time. They're just going to be movies that are my personal favorite and movies that I grew up watching that I have a lot of nostalgia behind. So, let's get started. Okay, number 10, The Descent. Now, this movie is a British movie, I believe, and it takes place in a cave. And there's this group of women that are going to go spelunking or caving or whatever, and they decide to go to a cave that's uncharted. And they're off the map, there's no GPS, no cell phone signal, and you know it's going to go wrong. I like this movie because I had a movie night with my friends when I was in high school, and it was such a cool thing to be all be scared together, you know. Also, I really like the tension in it. The characters are pretty good. They have a good conflict that kind of plays up in the end, and I really like the surprise of the creatures. Spoiler, sorry. And just the ending, oh my gosh, that's the epic shot of the very end is amazing. So even looking back at it, I definitely think it's a great movie. Number 9, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2003 version. Now, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate on this because the 1970s version was really innovative and classic, but for me personally, I saw the one from 2003 first, and it had a really big impact on me. So I definitely choose that over that one. It's more important of a film as far as film history goes. It had Jessica Biel in it, but it was really scary. It had built up the tension really well, and there's all these weird people in the town and this weird family, and you're like, oh, what's going on? And you think she's gonna get away, but she's not, and it's just a really great overall movie. So if you haven't seen the 2003 version, definitely check it out. And my apologies if you've only seen the most recent versions, because those weren't that good. So watch that and tell me what you think in the comments below. All right, number 8, Sinister. This was a movie that came out when I was in college, 2012, and it definitely was one of the first movies that I was genuinely disturbed about for days and days. I saw it by myself in theaters because I really don't have any friends that like horror movies, and if I want to see a horror movie, I usually go by myself or just, rent it afterwards. It stars Ethan Hawke. It's a movie about a guy who is a true crime writer, and he's investigating this crime that happened at the house, and he stumbles upon these home movies. And oh my gosh, the home movies are really scary, especially when you have no idea what they're going to be going into it, I think whenever I went to see it in theaters, I only seen the trailer once, so I barely had any idea what the heck was going to happen. So check that one out if you guys are interested in something kind of different and newer, but also disturbing. Number 7, House on Haunted Hill. This is from 1959, and it's one of the only classic movies, really old ones, that I have on the list because I just really like the movie. The story structure is it's kind of like Clue, the one from the 80s, but it's way better. This guy invites everybody to the house, and they have to stay the whole time to win $1,000. And there's all these secrets that get out about everybody, and they keep being killed off one by one, and you don't know what's going on and what's happening. It's really interesting, it's really thrilling, and it just has a classic horror movie vibe. All right, number 6. This one is The Cabin in the Woods. This is a movie that came out in 2012, and it was a movie that I loved. I absolutely loved. I remember it being by Joss Whedon, and I'm really into him because of Buffy and everything. And I was like, ooh, and the trailers looked really, really good. But I didn't know what the twist was. I kept seeing online, don't read the spoilers, don't read the spoilers, it's gonna ruin it for you. And I was like, okay. I tried to stay away from it, and I was really surprised. Definitely check this one out. It's not straight up horror. It has a comedic edge, it has a sarcastic edge. So if you're into that kind of thing, it's not like a spoof or anything, but it sort of plays up the cliches of a horror film. And it's done amazing. Just the dialogue in this is amazing. It stars Chris Hemsworth, and I believe it may have been before he was Thor. So that was kind of interesting. I know the movie got delayed and everything, but you guys should definitely watch that. If you're into horror, if you like the, if you want to see a movie that's scary but not too scary and sort of funny, definitely check this one out. Number 5, Saw. This is a movie that I saw that I watched with my friends, and I remember thinking it was really scary. We were over, I remember it was Halloween night, we were over a friend's house, and she didn't want to watch it. She's like, no, I don't want to watch that. And we all convinced her to watch it, and she was mad at the end. She's like, why'd you guys make me watch that, you know? But, I mean, people who think it's just a hack and slash, they're totally wrong. This movie it started the whole torture movie stuff, but it wasn't really the main focus of the movie. It was like a side thing. It sort of reminded me of the movie Seven with Brad Pitt, where the killer is demented for sure. He makes them do terrible things, but it's about the mystery. It's about what's going on, you know? And also it has a claustrophobic thing because will those guys be able to get out of there? And I really like the use of flashbacks in this movie and the whole jigsaw puppet thing. That's classic. The theme music in this movie is awesome. If you haven't seen Saw, definitely watch it. Now, are all the Saw chapters that came after it really, really good? No. Some of them are really terrible, some of them are okay, some of them are pretty good. I think Saw 3 is maybe my favorite sequel, but the original Saw, like, it was James Wan. He had a small budget, and he shot it for pretty cheap, and he was able to accomplish something. It was one of his first films, if not his first film, and now he has done so many other horror movies, and it sort of proved to the big studios that you could have a small budget and make a great horror movie that will be a cult classic. So I think that helped kind of get other ones greenlit, like Paranormal Activity and stuff like that. Number 4, The Ring. The Ring came out in 2002, and I was in maybe 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade, I don't remember. But I remember watching it in theaters. And it was one of the first movies that I saw in theaters with my friends that was a scary movie. And thankfully I was able to see it because it was PG-13. But I just love this movie, even rewatching it. Some of the parts are slightly cheesy, but it just has this overall creepy vibe. It just is like permeates through the whole movie. And it is a Japanese remake. And I've seen the original, and I actually like this version better. Of course, I may be biased because I saw this version first, but you know, the VHS tape itself is just so creepy, and there's just so many things in this movie that it just creeps you out, you know, and it has this like urban legend vibe, like, you know, stories that you would tell at a summer party or like a get together. Hey, did you hear about this? You know, if you watch this videotape, you die in 7 days. And it was really cool. I remember at school, being with my friends and being like 7 days, and everybody be like, ha ha ha, and freak out. And Naomi Watts did a really good job. The boy who plays the kid, I don't know what his name is, but he was really, really creepy. And he did a really good job too. That movie definitely had a big impact on me, and it made me really like scary movies more. Okay, number 3, Resident Evil. This movie came out in 2003, and I didn't see it when it first came out. I saw it later on video, but man, I love this movie. I am actually a Resident Evil fangirl to a certain extent because I've seen all the sequels and I like most of them. Although, I mean, come on, they get like super cheesy. You can't take them too seriously, but the original one was a straight up horror movie. The concept was just such a great concept. There's this like company that's evil and they have this underground facility and one of the viruses get out and it's under lockdown and all these people become zombies and they have to go down there, like it's just great. Like I really like the vibe of it. It's like this sort of tech horror movie where they show a lot of tech. They have like computers on their arms and they have like the laser grid and everything, and that is just an iconic scene, the laser grid scene. And I love Michelle Rodriguez and Mila Jovovich in it. I just love them. They do a really good job of building the tension in the movie, and I really love the soundtrack. I think it was composed by Marilyn Manson. He did a really good job of making it like techno and creepy and everything. And the zombies in this movie were great. They were on point. Okay, number 2. This movie is a brand new movie, It, the 2017 version. I just saw this when it first came out and I was blown away. I knew it would be good because of the trailers, but I was really excited. I wasn't disappointed at all. The child actors are great in it. Story is great. I love the way it's shot. The cinematography is awesome. And I really do like the new Pennywise. I think although he's not Tim Curry, he doesn't have the goofy aspect necessarily. I really like the new Pennywise and his vibe and everything. I think that the movie is really well-rounded and well shot, and I'm really excited for the sequel because the second part of the miniseries in the original version was not that good. So they have a pretty low bar to clear. And if they do a good job with the second part, it's going to be amazing. My number 1 pick for my favorite horror movie, Halloween. And I had a hard time picking my number 1 because it's hard to pick what do you want to be number 1. Do you want it to be your the movie you get the most excited about, the movie you get the most nostalgic about, or the movie that's like a must-see movie? And for me, Halloween is a must-see movie. I'm talking about the original 1970s version here with Jamie Lee Curtis. And I have good memories of watching this with my mom and my brother. And we would watch it every year on TV and everything. And I just loved how I loved the pacing of the movie, how they build the tension, and the shots in the movie are like really cool. Like watching it later as a person who loves film, I really like it. So it just has such a classic story, and it really set the hack and slash genre off. And since it's going to be Halloween tomorrow, why not make that my number 1? That's my top 10 scary movies. Thanks for watching, you guys. What is your top 10 scary movies? What do you like? Did I miss any ones that were super important? Do you think I'm crazy for my picks? Tell me what you think down below. If you haven't seen my short film, The Doll, watch that up here. It's a horror short film. Definitely check that out. And alright guys, thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.